Good evening and welcome to ESC. No, not extremely smelly cheese, but in fact the Extreme Scrutiny Club, where each 2 weeks all of your hosts bring a robot to the table and we debate, cruciate, and talk for absolutely hours, lovely edited down, don't worry, about whether or not it should be cast down into the Pit of Oblivion, or whether or not it deserves a spot in the arena amongst the stars. I am your host, Reira.
The evil dork.
And I'm New York Mitch.
And actually today we have our refereeing gear ready for myself to take upon, because we have a guest. And that guest is a Mr. Nelly himself, Mr. Definitely Not Puns and Roses, Mr. Gus Collier.
Oh, what's this?
It's a podcast, Gus. But of course, Gus is also the creator of SIG. Gus is the mastermind behind Robotics, which both make robot parts, the OP absolutely fantastic. And anything else that you want to plug, Gus, before we get going? Sort of advertise yourself out to our audience. I'm sure they'll know who you are, though.
Yeah, you all should buy my motors. I'm always in stock.
So this week we're actually doing something pretty awesome. So Gus, earlier this year you went over to LA for a 2-week holiday paid for by other people, is that right?
This is absolutely correct.
So no, you went out to be on Battlebots. And that's what we'll be talking about today. We're finally actually going to talk about the new season of Battlebots. Not quite sure when this episode will air, but currently, as of recording, we are just about to go into, is it episode 7 tomorrow?
Yes, it is, episode 7. And then we've got Desperado the week after.
So we have, in fact, seen Nelly, yours and Sarah's, Neil's, Shane, Charlie's wonderful creation. However, when we asked Gus to be on the podcast, what was it you said to me, Gus?
I want to play hard mode.
So Gus, to this point, still does not know which robot he is defending and basting.
He's a braver man than me.
If you two wanted to explain which robots you're taking before I finally put Gus out of his misery and tell him which robot he's got.
I am bringing a very lovely robot that's very close to my heart in the form of Death Roll.
The Super Crocodile.
Actually not Dead Nose.
We'll talk about that later on.
I am also bringing another vertical spinner that has been entertaining every time it has been on screen this season. It's been a true stalwart of the Battlebots reboot, and that is Witch Doctor.
And, Gus, any last guesses?
Is it Daisy Cutter?
It's not Daisy Cutter. So, Gus, I hope you're feeling lucky, because you'll be defending and or lambasting Lucky.
Oh, I know nothing about Lucky. Yay!
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Wiki is your friend, Gus. Get up the wiki.
I know we were talking about making him go first, but should we let him have a chance to read up and one of us goes first?
I know enough about it, but it's only had one fight this season.
You can discuss previous performance if you want to.
Yeah, so why not? He did alright in the Desperado last year and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be the evil referee here, just to remind our listeners of how the referee function works. Essentially, I'm not allowed to interject opinion, although we tend to break quite freely. Instead, I am here to come in with fact-check anything that our good guest, other two hosts will say, and I will be taking over Oliver's duty. Time Woman! Woman of Time! Commander of the Aeons!
Oh god, we're screwed.
It's okay. If I get time travel, I know exactly where I'm going, and it's season 1 of Robot Wars.
Oh no!
I'm gonna remind someone to put a battery in their fucking robot.
You probably still wouldn't get much further.
No!
God help!
We're not go an episode without discussing DGS.
No, we can't!
She brought it up and now she's getting scary.
So, which of you two wants to go first?
You know what, Oliver? You go first. Be the gentleman.
Right.
So, I have got your 3 minutes up on the clock. You have 3 minutes to discuss. You open it up to debate to everyone else. And we go from there and see what happens. Okay, your time starts now.
So by now, I think anybody, whether they've seen Battlebots or not, has a good idea they've had 2 Hexbug toys for a reason. They have been consistent throughout the 2 ABC seasons that we had. And last season they came back and it did fail. It was a relatively average sort of 4-wheel drive vertical spinner. It had some really entertaining fights. The blacksmith one always sticks in my mind. There were a few problems though. The spinner didn't really have very good engagement. The tires, they were a little bit, I think they were off the shelf tires and they were a little bit weak. They've come back for season 4 with new custom tires. They've split the wedge so that the weapon gets far better engagement, and it shows. Hypershock from last year going into this year, they've chosen to refine the design rather than completely rebuild it. I mean, let's just look at who they are. The Amazon Remars event, they took out Tombstone. They completely gutted Bronco. Then Shatter and Captain Shredderator so far in this series have been fairly dominant wins. There was a in the Shatter fight. But yeah, I just feel like the design has really stepped up a notch. They're just building on all of the losses that they've had in previous seasons. It's been so rewarding as a fan to watch, having seen them go through trials and tribulations and successes and the highs and lows, defeating Tombstone, losing to Red Devil, for them to have come back with a robot that's, I mean, it's on fire. And I'm definitely predicting this to go far. I don't know when this will be out. I may be already eating my words, but I think they're at least top 16. They deserve that much, and I have them marked out to go further. I think that pretty much concludes my opening.
All right, yeah, you're more than within time, so if you want to open it up.
I mean, I will just say before we go into debate, I was going to discuss Warhawk as of episode 2, but I mean, as we speak, the 2 fights that it had was split in 3 halves, just like Mad Catter. And the only things that I could say that are positive about that vault would be the amazing performance of War Stop, which I love.
War Stop for Giant Nut!
Yes.
War Stop for Giant Nut!
If I'm going to bring Warhawk or Warhog, then I want...
Hey!
I want it to be. I want to be able to say good things about it. You've got Witch Doctor instead. Deal with it.
All right, so let's open it up, and yeah. So everyone else is now free to speak, or free to discuss to their heart's content. Witch Doctor, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, quite honestly, that Witch Doctor. Oh, it's one hell of a sexy machine. Whoa, have you seen it? One of the best standout machines in terms of design, in my opinion, in honestly every series of Battlebots since the reboot. It's a vertical spinner. Yeah, there's a lot of vertical spinners, but the colour, the design aesthetic, and of course the team themselves get behind the robot and they get dressed up. And of course a lot of teams do this. I'm not saying that no other team does it. Bugger the rest of you, but Witch Doctor just touches my heart in terms of the visuals. As you know, I'm the visual guy, but can you blame me? It's a lovely machine, performs decently. I feel like it's got better with each series. Series 3, Season 3, if you want to be in, say, American terms, did fantastic. And I have to agree with Oliver. I think, seeing how it did in the Amazon Alexa Battlebots challenge, I think it's going to be a dark horse for Series 4.
Gus, your opinions?
Yeah, it's got ribs, it's got a spinner. However, it's got a Drisk, and clearly the superior Drisk is my Beetleweight Saucy. And while we're talking about verts, it's clearly inferior to the Berg. So yeah, Witch Doctor ain't got nothing.
Oh God.
So your entire opinion on Witch Doctor is that it's not as good as Sossig or the Berg.
Yeah,
I mean, that's true, but
any elaboration on any other points, Gus?
it's not the Berg, therefore it goes down.
I'm so sad we didn't talk about the Berg in our Battlebots episode.
in our Battlebots Series 2 one though, somebody's got to.
Oh, I hope so.
I mean, you could.
Okay, so yeah, I do actually like Witch Doctor as much as I might shit talk it for not being the Berg or Saucy.
I'm sure we will discuss those in a future episode at some point. I mean, yeah, like I say, it's had highs and lows. The fight against Red Devil in Season 2 was a fantastic. I love Red Devil and Sawbots in general. But that was obviously quite a low point. But they've got flipped over in Series 1. They added a Shremek. They didn't an engagement in Season 3. They split the wedge. every evolution with the design has just better and better and better. And
It has a habit of catching fire, though.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, this is true. And I hope that is something they sort out. I mean, adding a flamethrower might not have been the best.
I hope they did that as a joke. I really hope they did that as a joke.
Andrea and Mike have a YouTube channel where they go through and the sections of each fight, and behind the scenes, wonderful to watch, and how enthusiastic they for the sport, for getting young people involved, and just everything about the team. They are inspiration, and I think we were talking with Sam last episode about tears in the pit. I think if there are tears in the arena in the sky, Witch Doctor's got to be near the top.
I have to agree.
If you look at what Witch Doctor has lost to, Bronco, Tombstone, Nightmare in a Rumble, Red Devil, Bite Force in a Rumble, Yeti, Minotaur. Those aren't just like mid-card robots. A lot of those are really good, top-tier robots. Bronco maybe has fallen a bit from grace in the recent series, but it's still a good flipper if it gets under. So there's no shame for Witch Doctor to have lost to these robots.
That's just looking at them as out-and-out losses. Most of those fights, especially the Tombstone fight from season 1, they were really close matches. And for quite a while, I think Witch Doctor struggled to sort of get the killing blow on those top-tier robots. But looking at the event from the pre-season,
yeah,
it's really changed with this new design, and I really hope we see some fantastic battles from.
Any further counterpoints then? As it seems like we're starting to get set on Witch Doctor here. Are there any other points that you wanted to make, Gus, as well?
It's green.
It is green.
Good.
I like the artwork on the spinner. The entire machine is a work of art, really.
As Reira says, I think because we are still mid-season, are there any robots that we would like to see Witch Doctor fight going forward?
Witch Doctor versus Nelly when?
I would actually like to see Witch Doctor versus Tombstone again, but with Ray driving. That would be really cool, in my opinion.
Who drove for the last match?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't Ray. That's what I heard. Because Ray, when it was at the Amazon thing, I think it wasn't.
It wasn't Ray, no. I think it was his son.
Trying to find the Amazon.
Justin Billings, Ray's son, drove at Remars, but Ray has driven every single fight at Battlebots.
Right, there you go. So yeah, I guess that's my point then, really. Just the fact of how, if it was his son driving at the Amazon Mars event, then I would love to see Ray drive it against Witch Doctor at actual Battlebots. Of course, Battlebots has long been recorded and been and gone, but we don't know what's in the upcoming episode. So fingers crossed we get that, because I'd be really hyped.
So Greg, if you're listening, next season's fight cards, we're just giving you a few bits of free advice.
Do it.
I'd really like to see Witch Doctor fight Black Dragon, another new team that have arrived this year and been hitting pretty hard. I just think that'd be a really interesting fight.
I think I'd like to see Witch Doctor Gruff, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah, good shout.
I think Gruff is the type of design that could really give Witch Doctor a run for its money. And I also really, really want to see more of that Gruff flame. Alright, so, going on to voting. Yeah, you guys do what you do. I am the referee. I can but tell you where to go.
Well, I'm going to go first, and honestly, this wasn't a hard choice for me. Witch Doctor goes to Arena in the Sky, good looks, and its performance has increasingly been better as series has gone on. Let's hope it does better in Series 4. I hope it goes far.
Gus?
It's very pretty, and it works very well, and it destroys things, so it's going up there.
It's going to the Arena, so that is a guarantee to the Arena. Oliver, if you want to seal the deal with a 3-0, I highly doubt you're going to say opposite.
I'm going to make it 3-0. I was expecting that Witch Doctor would go in the Arena. I would have been very surprised if you'd sent it to the pit. I just wanted an excuse to gush over that new design because it is beautiful.
It really is. It really is.
I'm just going to throw it out there. Can it beat Bite Force? We will see.
Yes. Yes.
Bite Force does have the hinged wedges, which I think gives it a significant advantage, but
Spark fast.
It would be a great fight.
I don't know. I think Bite Force would win over that, to be honest.
I think it would, but I think it would be the real test of the new design.
Absolutely. Another match I'd like to see. Greg, if you're listening, please.
Pipe Force versus Witch Doctor, Nelly versus Witch Doctor. Can we just have Witch Doctor versus Witch Doctor Rumble next year? Witch Doctor versus the entire roster.
Oh my god, is this WWE?
Yes, it is. We're talking Royal Rumble.
Oh, please. I know it'd be so difficult, but a Royal Rumble with robots would be amazing.
Well, stop the fight, everyone disarm, we've got to load another one in.
So, Gus, as someone else who can comment on this, isn't that kind of how the Yui everyone fight feels? Right, stop the fight, we've got to take 7 losers out.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's like 5 lipos hanging out because Cosmin's killed everyone again.
I mean, it's gladiator match. That's what they call it, I think, with robots. And I would love to see a Battlebots gladiator at the end of the season. Just get in anybody who's still running, who still wants to fight. Just pack out that arena with as many as you can. You know, have as many different coloured squares laid out, especially in the lilac square.
The Farouk introductions would be an entire episode on its own.
All the hype and all the build up for that. That would be quite something.
All right, so next up, we're going to go across to Mitch to give Gus more time to prepare, as he knows nothing about Lucky.
Well, in that case, I'm going to talk about one of my favourite robots. I know I talked about Thermidor being one of my favourite robots in the first episode, but apart from Warhog, Agrabot, which I haven't had an opportunity to talk about yet, and this beautiful crocodile, well, here we go. It's Death Roll from Battlebots Series 2, and it's in the latest series as well.
Go ahead. I would hope so, because today's episode is essentially about Battlebots 2019. So
yeah, but I just thought I'd mention where it competed. It's not just the new one.
I mean, there is Ginsu on display at Battlebots 2019. Can I bring Ginsu?
Technically.
God damn it.
It means technically you could also bring Nightmare.
Dr. Inferno Jr., if the little toy that Jason Bardis has counts.
Okay, so your time is on the clock, Mitchell.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Right, so, Death Roll. I missed a lot of Battlebots when it first came back on, and when I joined the Robot Arena community and the online robot communities and realised, oh wow, Battlebots is on, I've never really watched it, not even the previous, past series. And I watched it with my nan. My nan actually is a massive Robotics fan as well, which I think's really cool. And we both fell in love with Death Roll at first sight. Now, this was the Season 2 version, which had a cool weapon, it had an awesome design, but it didn't do too well. It lost to Captain Shredderator and a rumble against Scorpios and Bucktooth Burl. But honestly, Season 4 so far has been bloody amazing for this robot. It was up against Endgame to begin with, which, what a corker of a fight, honestly. Endgame was battering Death Roll. Death Roll never died, despite having death in the name. Landed a shot, and that was it. Game over for Endgame. And it was such a good match. I was watching this with several people. I think Oliver was there?
I was, yeah.
You were. That's it. And it was such a fantastic fight. I know I said that several times, but I can't get over it. Not just because I love Death Roll, but it was one of the best fights of the season so far. Of course, there was the one against Foxtrot as well, which it got a few hits on Foxtrot, died. But honestly, it's just the design of the robot. That's why I've brought it here. It's yet to prove itself properly. It's had a good win, and it's had an okay win over Foxtrot. But my word, one of the best looking robots in Battlebots, in my opinion. And it's kind of the basis for my flagship Robot Arena 2 robot, which I'll talk about a bit in the debate. So that's all I've got to say. I'm happy to let you guys talk about it now.
Okay, yeah, you're perfectly within time, so let's open it up.
I just want to know how they did the painting on it.
Of course, always.
So they painted it light green, and then they put tights all over it, like fishnet tights, and then they sprayed on the dark green. So that's how they made crocodile skin.
Oh.
They have a bucket with the words crocodile tights written on it that they keep the paint.
That's so cool.
Crocodile tight.
Oh, that's actually really cool. That's really creative as well in terms of art stuff. Because I do illustration and whatever, but hearing that is a really unique way to paint your robot. So I like it. I like it a lot. I'll throw this here now. I should have done it in the actual thing, but this is the robot I've made on Robot Arena 2 that people know me for. I'll put it in the Discord. This is called Dead Nors. It was originally called Nors and it was a flipper clamp, but it got absolutely massacred Splinter style. So I rebuilt it as a spinner. The original version was based on Death Roll with a moving tail and stuff. That's just to show how much of an inspiration this robot is to me, because I think it's really unique. Again, it's a vertical spinner, but like with Witch Doctor, the design is out there. And I just love it so much. If I have to make an actual robot, if I ever go into roboteering, I want to make a crocodile robot. That's how much this robot means to me.
Wholesomeness.
It's a bit like the Detonator thing. It's wholesome stuff.
So any counterpoints or supporting points?
I'm going to jump in here because I think if we're going to appreciate Death Roll, I think we equally need to give credit to its Chinese counterpart, Great White. Because Death Roll's only had limited fights at this point, but Great White, which is basically the same design, went over to China and it took out Tan Shay, which is Gabriel Stroud and John Reed's machine, and just generally put on a really, really good show. And I think they made top 8 in King of Bots Series 1.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have many points against Death Roll or Great White. I think the only one point that I could really bring against it is that at the moment it almost seems slightly too powerful for its own good, especially in the match against Endgame. The whole point of a vertical spinner is to transfer the energy into going back through you down into the floor and to hit a robot as high as possible. Death Roll, it was incredibly durable and bounced around the arena a lot, but that's the point. It struggled against Endgame in that match up until Endgame died. And it dealt the damage and took the hits and definitely deserved the win. But it's certainly not the most stable design, which is not a bad thing. It's just incredibly powerful, and I could see that being a downfall later on down the line. We shall have to see.
I mentioned in the last episode with the flippers and how you can have engineering and then you can have over-engineering. I think it relates to power as well. You can have power and then you can have too much power. And might be a case for Death Roll, but I'm gonna stay kind of in the middle on that, because yes, the end game fight, you've got a point there, but I think we need to see more of it for me to go, yeah, okay, I agree, but I can kind of see your point.
Okay, so what do you guys think of hoverboards?
Hoverboards?
Where are you going with this?
Yes, where are you going?
Yeah, well, it uses them for its drive, so...
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Sorry.
It uses them for its drive.
Yeah, those hoverboards are powered by brushless hub motors, and Death Roll's drive is literally just those hub motors pulled off of hoverboards and stuck into the chassis.
Oh!
Found a good use for them.
I almost spat my drink up when you said that. Jesus. God. Oh, damn. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good use for them. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm
Recycling, because no one uses them anymore.
It always impresses me when robots reuse and repurpose parts. It's not something we've really seen often in modern robot combat.
I don't know, you see it a lot more at the smaller weight classes. Dreadbin comes to mind.
I'm talking of heavyweights.
All right.
Alright.
Heavyweight Dreadbin when?
Yes. And heavyweight Dreadbin, please fight Deep Six.
What would Deep Six do? Would it open up a pit in the floor and go down it?
opens up a self pit to hell. Oh yeah, it has like a arm prop for a Shremek, and that's just the most unique Shremek I think we've ever had.
Yes, I fucking loved that. Like every time I walked past, I told them how beautiful it was.
That Steve Irwin isn't still with us, and I can't do a segment on Death Roll.
Oh, that would be awesome and wholesome.
Very wholesome. I imagine it in the same style as sort of the classic Battlebots sort of skits that they had, or the intro skits that they had from last.
Oh, that would be cool, to be honest. I mean, I know some of the skits of the old Comedy Central were just like awful. And again, thanks to Mr. Psycho, we're mentioning Mr. Psycho again. Way, I know he finds them so cringy, but some of them were pretty funny. I mean, for Death Roll, you could just have, that ain't a weapon. This is a weapon, and just it's the big spinning blade going around.
Have it narrated like a nature document.
Yeah, that too.
I've actually been missing the cold opens from last. They were quite entertaining. We don't think we've had any. It's just Chris and Kenny saying hello everybody, and then we get to the fights, which is fine. But because the filler we have had has been really good, but
I think it seems more information based, and I do miss the cold opens because the one with Gamma 9 being chucked in the dumpster and the huge staring contest, they were fantastic cold opens. But I do like the direction the series has gone with how, it's quite informational, quite technical. This is how a robot works.
It feels like a sporting event.
Yeah.
Battlebots feels like a sporting event now, and I think that's what they should be.
Robots are serious business, works of engineering, should be taken seriously. Anyway, here's Nelly.
Oh, Gus.
As we've discussed before on the podcast, I quite like the blend of serious and silly. It's a nice reflection of the sports, personally. But that's the only criticism I can have.
That seriousness in terms of issues does, in fact, make us feel a bit more like this is a serious event. Player injuries in sport, etc., etc. It's serious business. Robot combat is serious business. To quote Bam Mitchell, quote the legendary Bad Mitchell. To quote Bad Mitchell, bad, get in your fucking corner.
Okay, I will.
To quote the legendary Bam Mitchell, combat robotics is serious business. I'd like to think that Death Roll is another one of those robots, like we've discussed, between being a little bit silly but also being serious business.
Yeah, the team are a whole lot of fun. Steve Martin's great. He's a hoot. He runs BotBit, which is a great website.
Oh, he runs BotBits. Oh, nice. I've used BotBits, actually.
Everything that the team do for robot combat in Australia is absolutely fab. I mean, Death Roll Season 2 Death Roll has been a house robot in some of their lighter, I think, taking featherweight.
Oh my god, the idea of Death Roll being a house robot.
Fits. It works really well.
It does. It reminds me a bit of Growler in a weird way, just without the moving jaw and a vertical spinning weapon.
All right, if everyone is ready, I feel that you guys have started to work your way towards voting. So the referee is calling time, and I need to see some voting movement.
Well, you got an easy one from me. My baby needs to go to the arena in the sky. And that's it. No one else matters, is my opinion.
Gus?
Yep, straight up there. Love it.
And yeah, for me, I think Death Roll it's shown a really good start to the season. And yeah, there are some. It's still either way, but I think more likely than not, this is a top 16 robot. And based on its performance thus far, and especially including the Great White performance in King of Bots, because they are basically the same robot, it has been so strong. There's so much potential with this design. To go straight up to the arena in the sky.
Yes!
That is a 3-0 victory for Death Roll. And that does bring us to our final entry for the evening.
Oh,
Gus,
no.
how you doing over there, research boy?
Oh, goodness, I'm sweating. You picked... Of all of Battlebots, it's been on all 3 series, and it's somehow one of the most obscure still.
So, to add some context as well, I picked this robot for Gus whilst sat giggling with Sarah, the team captain. Now Gus's fiance, and I'm quite sure that she's listening in on this recording somewhere, hopefully, and giggling away at the fact that Gus is struggling so much with this.
Welcome to hard mode.
Yeah.
Welcome to hard mode, Gus. You chose this. I'm going to put your 3 minutes on the clock. I'm going to take my time with it as well, give you a little bit of extra time. Just go into my stopwatch app, get ready to press start, reset it. All right, Gus, you have 3 minutes on the clock to make your point, to either send Lucky to the arena or to the pit. Up to you where you put it. And your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, so first of all, am I allowed to put it in limbo rather than up or down?
You can put it in. You can propose that it just go to the vote if you like.
Yeah. Okay, so did you know that Lucky's full name is Lucky Kanuki?
No.
It makes a lot more sense. They changed it due to political correctness reasons, according to the wiki.
Oh, interesting.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Nor do I.
You don't get the name, or you don't get why they changed it?
Both.
Both.
The Canucks are the Canadian. It's like calling Americans Yanks or Brits Lions. They're the
Oh.
Canucks.
Oh.
Okay.
Obviously, being a bot from Canada, Mark Demers is captain, and they've got Curtis Warner on the team, I believe, who's finger tech guy. He had
They
business.
all them beat weight parts.
Yep, beta weight parts, amp weight parts. So they had a massive team this year. I think they've shuffled their team around pretty much every year, because I remember in season 2 they had Rob Masick. He moved to Bite Force last year.
And Gary Ginn as well.
I think
Robert
so.
Mass.
The wiki's quite confusing on that point.
They had Gary Ginn on the team as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Thanks for helping.
Based driving god, Gary.
I think he was the one who shouted Canada, even though he's not from Canada, in season 2.
So, their season 2 performance, they fought Beta and they fought Yeti. Beta fight, their thing got bent in, and the Yeti fight, their thing got ripped off. It's not a happy robot.
Lucky's season 4 face looks like it's taking a tricky shit.
Oh dear.
Yeah. The face is cute. That's a good thing that's on the robot. I don't think there are any other heavyweight 4-bar flippers as well. It's pretty unique in that sense.
You have 5 seconds, yes.
5 seconds. Vote Lucky.
Alright, so it's now automatically opened up to debate. You can continue where you left off if you like, Gus, but just know that they are now allowed to nip at your heels or support you if they are so nice.
I mean, you lot have been doing that through the entire thing that I've done anyway.
True.
Right. Season 3 performance, it did badly, and then I think the only time Lucky has ever been lucky and won some fights was in the Desperado, where it got to the final of the Desperado, and that was all right. Put a lot of good fights, and then ultimately succumbed to one that won the Desperado.
I think the Desperado tournament finally showed what that bot can do.
Yes, certainly. It beat Gigabyte, didn't it? That was a great fight.
Gigabyte and Gemini.
Yeah, just popped it over. Gemini, no worries. Popped them everywhere. A bit reminiscent of when Crackers and Smash fought that flipper. Apollo, yeah, that flipper. Just yeeting these half-weight robots twice as far as it would normally yeet a heavy.
You look at the robots it's lost to, Beta, Yeti, Scorpius, Son of Waiachi, Lockjaw. They're not easy robots to fight. And yeah, I think just the robot is ironically famous for being unlucky. But it's never really had an easy time of it on TV.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like Lucky, this might be a bit of a stretch, but it does remind me of Biohazard. Not as successful as Biohazard, of course, because Biohazard was probably, dare I say, one of the best robots of all time. But, in terms of the weapon design and kind of, it's not completely flat, but it's flattish. It's just a shame that Lucky hasn't been as lucky, but has faced some tough opponents. I want to bring up a bit of a random point, a bit of a controversial point, in terms of the Last Chance Rumble. Now, I remember, of course, the result of that being quite controversial. Bombshell should have lost and it should have been Duck. And one of the most recurring points I saw was that Ducks fought more opponents to get into this Last Chance Rumble. But actually, that's not true. Lucky faced 6 robots compared to Duck, which was 5, and Bombshell 4. So, honestly, Lucky's been through the wars. It's had some decent fights. It's just not been lucky.
This season's first fight for Lucky really has shown how unlucky Lucky is.
Yep. Absolutely.
One point I'd like to make is that Lucky is based on super heavyweight Ziggy, and Ziggy is infamous for being the super heavyweight that destroyed the super heavyweight class. The reason why super heavyweight stopped being a thing because Ziggy just won everything and people got bored of it and it got too expensive.
Wow.
Who piloted Ziggy? Because I'm sure I've heard of it.
Oh goodness.
Because I think it was Canadian as well, wasn't it?
It's the same team.
Was it the same team?
Pretty sure it's the same team.
CM Robotics.
Same team.
Yep. I mean, to be honest, like looking at Ziggy and how well it apparently did, it's kind of a shame because Lucky's living in its shadow essentially, and that is a colossal shame. And I think, as harsh as this might sound, I'd say that kind of brings Lucky down in terms of its own performance and in terms of where it could end up here on ESC.
I think that segues us perfectly towards voting. So unless there's any final points, are people ready to vote?
I will just add, perhaps because of the success of Ziggy, the team have decided to sort of keep going with this design. Maybe if Ziggy hadn't have been as dominant as it was, that Lucky would have moved forward. But it has remained largely the same in terms of, at least from an outward perspective, certainly in terms of performance since debut in season 2.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. When you've based a design on something that has been successful and then successful,
Yeah.
you get that sort of shame.
Lucky is based on a super heavyweight design. You've got more power and more armor to deal with. You're able to make a design work. We're all aware that some designs work better in some weight classes and not in others. Perhaps Ziggy is one of those designs, and Lucky is perhaps proof of that.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's time that you guys move on to your voting.
Vote time.
Who wants to go first?
I'm happy to go first since I've gone third the last 2 times. I'm going to call it. Lucky has, when it first debuted, especially, had a lot of potential. I feel like the design is in need of a rethink in the heavyweights. They put on this huge wedge against Bloodsport this year and had to take off wheels to lose maneuverability. It just shows that it's just not quite optimized. And I think until we see that, based on its track record, it's fought some really, really good robots, but it's not stood up in the way that we would hope. I'm going to put Lucky in the pit.
That is 1 vote for the pit.
Well, I wasn't arguing either way, so like every vote's a win for me, really.
Yep. That's kind of cheating, but I love it.
I was just talking about Lucky for 3 minutes.
Well, all right. I'm curious. If you had to go one way, which way would you go?
Oh goodness. Well, because we've already got 1 vote for the pit, if I'm now going to say in the pit, so then I win.
Okay, that works. I wasn't expecting it to be. Wasn't expecting it to be a 3-way victory, but yeah, I have to agree and put Lucky down in the pit. There's potential, but we just haven't seen it. But if we get to see it later on in a future season, or in this season maybe, I'll happily come back to this robot and reconsider where it belongs.
Okay, that is a 3-0 loss, and that rounds up our Battlebots 2019 episode. Did any of you sort of want to recap on any points you've made before I start winding us down for the evening?
You should buy my motors.
We should all buy Gus.
I mean, all I'll say is that Battlebots this year so far, we're 6 episodes in, has been incredible. The Discovery Channel was definitely an amazing. Many people have said how much they enjoy the pit segments with Jenny Taft, and I have to add my voice and agree. They are so good. The presentation is spot on. The camera work, the commentating, the robots themselves, the editing. It's all perfect. And if this series continues to be as good as it is, then I think it's right on the road to becoming the best season of Robot Combat that has ever been aired.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah, here.
I mean, I've already seen it, and I can tell you, it is the best season ever.
Are you just saying that because it's got you on it
Yes.
and your future wife?
Yeah.
By which I mean Charles Guan.
Please don't do fan art of that. Please don't.
No, what are you
Well,
doing?
Please do.
I know what fanfic
do.
I'm writing next.
That's it. I'm going home. I've had enough.
Yes. And on that bombshell,
Good night.
No, we didn't talk about Bombshell. We didn't talk about Bombshell. So that will be all from us. So quick social plugs as usual.
Wait, we haven't
you can
looked at the robots yet. We haven't done the round.
Yes, we have. I did that before all of this.
Wait, did you?
I don't
I think
remember
so.
that. No,
I don't remember.
I don't think you did.
I'm having a crisis moment. Okay, we I'm going mad. They're gonna call this Detonator Fever. So in reverse order, because I'm going completely mad here, we've just sent Lucky to the pit to join such wonderful robots as Warhog, which I hope Lucky also confuses for Warhawk.
Wow.
and Detonator's in the pit. Detonator sucks.
Fuck you, Gus. Right, that's it. That's another St. Michael that I'm not buying.
Oh no, not St. Michael.
And we sent Death Roll to the arena, and we sent Witch Doctor, both of which very well deserved. And that about rounds it up. So you can find me, your wonderful Empress Reira, moderating on Shuntposting, or you can find me on Team Roll Initiative on Instagram and Facebook, which is where I do all my roboty shenanigans. And you can also find me on Reira the Bard on Instagram, which is sort of my go-to social outlet at the moment. What about the rest of you?
Okay, my page on Facebook is Robotics. There's also the Nelly Battlebot page on the Facebook. That's where I am, and you can buy my motors from a link on my Facebook page, Robotics. You should buy my motors.
I guess I'll go next because you'll go up on YouTube and Twitch, and you'll find me mucking about on Shuntposting as per usual, because I like to cause a bit of mayhem. Viva la Revolution!
Viva la Revolution, indeed. As usual, I will be around on Shuntposting, as with the rest of these wonderful people, and of course ESC has a Facebook page, general news and updates on what we're doing. If you like Lucky and you like 4-bar lifters, go like my Facebook page, Team Mott and Bailey. I've just got my Beetleweight crossblow up and running, and I'm sure at this point there'll be test videos and all, hopefully on our way to RoboNerd to get some fights in.
That is all from us tonight. I hope you can join us again in another 2 weeks. And thank you for being on the show, Gus. We look forward to seeing yet more Nelly fight.
Oh no.
Because Nelly's fucking awesome. And yeah, have a fantastic night, everyone.
No.
Bye.
Bye.
When Bugglebots.
Never.
Ben Wogglebot.